So in the last video we left off learning how to create views from our controllers. In this video we're going to be learning how to create models, and models are how we're going to connect to our database and how we're going to interact with it. Sometimes models are used for all of the logic in the application, but what we're going to be using it for is just for database accesses. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create a database class, and if we go to our social network series, you can see this is the source code of it here. You can see we already have a DB class created, so we're going to use that as our template, and we're going to copy and paste that. We're going to go to classes and we're going to create a new file and we're going to call it database. We're going to paste in this DB class. We're going to change the name of it to database. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create a public static host. Copy and paste that. And we're going to create a public static DB name, username, and password. Then in our connection string here, what we're going to do is we're going to first change those single quotes to double quotes. And here what we'll do is we'll include the host variable, the DB name variable, username variable, and the password variable. And we actually need to just put in self here. So we put a dot and a double quote, and that allows us to break the string for a second while we can put in this self keyword. And we're going to copy this, and we're going to do it for DB name as well. And then for username, we're just going to put in self. It's not in a string, so we don't need to do that. And password, we're going to put in self as well. And then in about us, what we're going to do is we're going to create a special function. So we're going to say public static test, for example, just to test this out. And it's a public static function. And what we'll do is we will say self query to query the database, and we'll say select all from users. Then if we go to our routes.php page and we go to about us, we're going to say about us, instead of about us create view, we're going to say about us test to run our test function. And then in our base controller class, we want to say class controller extends database. In controller, what we need to do is we need to say public host equals 127.0.0.1, public DB name equals social network, public username equals root, and public password equals an empty string. And we just want to paste in static here to make sure these are all static and we're not redeclaring the variables. And what we'll actually do is just delete them out of the controller class, and we'll just put them right in the database class because it probably makes more sense. So we'll just paste them in here and we'll set the values in the database class. And if we refresh, we get nothing printed out because we haven't told it to print anything out. But if I just print _r, the result of our query, you can see we get all of our users printed out of the database. And this is happening in our controller, which is being called by the root, which is being run based off of the URL parameter that's passed to the index page. We could tidy something up in the routes.php page. You can see we have a method called createView and we have another method called test. What we could do is from the createView method, we could run our other methods. So what we can do is we can say run a function called something like do something. And what we want to do is put static before that, and this is called late static binding. You can find more about that on the PHP website if you're interested, but just we want to call static here, and that will allow us in our about us class, which is our class that extends the controller class, it will allow that class to say a public static function do something without us having to create the do something method in the controller class, which is the parent class. So if I run that, you can see we get exactly as we expected, but it's a bit more tidy because in our routes page, we only have one function running in each route now. So that's it for this short series on model view controllers. We're going to be using this in our social network series, so this was quite useful to learn beforehand. But that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit, and I'll see you next time.